Well, this is exciting. We have a few folks on the show today. That's great. We want to get into the big role here. We'll start talking about what's going on. But while we're waiting for a few others that potentially will come in, I've had a few registrations. What I'll do is I'll cover some of the news that's happening out there. That's depending on how you look at it, it could be disturbing and maybe not. But what we've been watching, and I did some updates recently. Let me jump into this here, and I'll be able to share my screen. Let me jump onto a screen I have open. But recently, I've been watching, and I've been seeing that you know there's a lot of confusion about artificial intelligence, but not just with uh, the people that are trying to implement it into their business, but actually the development of the technology. Let me get to this here. And what I did is I kind of made a comparison because it's difficult to understand it. Some of us in this particular chat come from the time when we had to wait to do things. We had to wait to make a phone call. We had to wait till we got home. And I grew up kind of in that era before answering machines came along. I remember my dad getting one and he was just tickled to death because now he could get messages. But at the very beginning, if you're around at that time, people didn't really trust that technology either. And then they went tapeless, and then that was a whole nother mess. But we see that that's moved from, just basically not being able to wait to now I'm using AI to create for me a 5,000 word blog post based on a video that I had it also narrate and give me the script for. And I'm irritated because it's taking so long. And then, and then after I get it, I read it. It's like, well, this isn't really what I wanted. So then I'm getting upset. Whereas before, I remember back in 2006, 7, and 8, those years, I remember when I did a lot of blogging about real estate and other things, and it would take literally hours, 3 or 4 hours to put together a long enough blog post that was able to be written well. And even at that time, and we'll get into this a little bit today, if you're not putting content out online, you will be falling behind. You have to start doing that if you're not doing it. Get a blog, get some kind of a website. I have a for free. All you have to do is hit me up and I'll set you up with an account with what I have. And you can have a blog there and a website. And I just need a domain name that you have so I can point the blog to it. That's really the first step. And if you don't have a domain name, I'm able to resell those as well, 10 or 11 bucks, about the same as GoDaddy. But you can go there and you can get a blog and you can start writing content. The reason why that's important is because that's going to be something that you're going to be able to direct people to when you're answering particular questions, and it gives you that extra validity. Whenever somebody says, is it a good idea to stage my home? Then you can respond with verbally what you believe about that particular topic. And then you can say, I have a resource that I can send you a link to that I wrote a few weeks ago talking about home staging, and then give all those numbers that you're not able to recall during the conversation with them. And it gives you a lot of weight when you're trying to sell real estate. That's a massively important game changer that a lot of people still aren't grasping onto. When you talk to somebody, you need to be different in some way. Me, I'm beautiful, so I guess that's the attraction point. But seriously, you have to be somewhat different. Maybe the way that you speak, you're more engaging. Maybe you sound trustworthy. Maybe you have a great voice. Maybe you have a great demeanor. Maybe you're being referred to somebody by somebody they trust. So then that trust is kind of gained by just assumption because you were recommended to them. You want to keep that up. And when you're able to provide somebody with information that you've already put together, like in a blog post or in a real estate page that you create, but a blog post is really the better way to do it. And you can have AI help you write that. And you can put in statistics. You can have it scrape the NAR website, National Association of Realtors, the California Association of Realtors, the SRAR site, if you happen to be a member of that, if you're not in CLAW or one of those others. But you can have it scrape those systems and look at the statistics, and statistics really sell. when you're talking to sellers, when you're talking to buyers, giving them percentages, and you can have these massive data monsters pull that information. Of course, there should be some type of verification on your end so that you're not giving bad information. But going through that and just looking at where it used to be and how long it took me to produce things to now, it's incredible. Now, AI, as of around August of this year, artificial intelligence in general, the systems have become self-learning, and there's a lot of dystopian factors that could be guessed at in the future as to maybe that's going to lead us down a bad path. Right now, I did a couple posts. That's what I was bringing you here to. Let me share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. So I did a couple of posts this week, kind of talking at Santa Clarita Artificial Intelligence, talking about a couple of different things. So I did part one, and here I talked about the way, and you can watch the video, but I talked about the way that artificial intelligence is kind of being put together and built, kind of where it came from. And then because so many people talking about artificial intelligence talk about it in an IQ format, like Einstein is 160, the IQ of artificial intelligence, like in a grand scale, is somewhere 140 or 150, maybe a little bit more. But even that really doesn't help me comprehend as to the depth of this. So what I did is I crawled down another rabbit hole the last couple of days, putting together these posts. So you can see it if you go to Santa Clarita Artificial Intelligence.com at the top. Just click on blog, and then you'll get to this particular page. But what I figured out is, and I did. There's one thing called the paperclip experiment where somebody asks when artificial intelligence gets more powerful, which could be moments from now, believe it or not. But they asked it. They gave it a task. They said, "Well, we want you to make paperclips." And that's it. That was the task. So artificial intelligence, of course, now needs to set different goals for itself, and it needs to reposition itself to be able to be very good at making paper clips. So then it starts to develop, it needs more energy to do that. It needs more comprehension to do that. It needs to continually improve itself to make itself better at making paper clips. And then it realizes that some of the resources that we humans need for survival, like oxygen, atomically, that can be converted into structures and properties to make paper clips. So you see where this goes. This goes badly. This goes, this everything now in the world and the universe and beyond is all turned into paper clips because of a goal being set by the machine. That's called alignment. That has to be put under control. We can't have the machine being given a task and then just have it go crazy and never stop. So this is what I got into. I have a part three coming out as well. But anyway, if you want to see that, check that out. I'll get into today's show now. I just think that's absolutely exciting. I just don't know where it's going to leave us in the future. One of the things that's starting to really be looked at, and I don't know, I haven't seen any specific issues of attorneys coming after real estate agents for content that was produced by artificial intelligence that might not adhere to the standards put forth by being a realtor, being in this group that we pay lots of money to be realtors, to be members of. But it's not far from coming if it hasn't started to happen already. The content that you have it produce, you need to double check, you need to read, you need to make sure it doesn't align itself with in a way that isn't going to be conducive or is going to be some kind of violation of an ethical rule or even a legal rule when you're talking about what you're having the systems produce. So let me get into today's show, and then we'll pull that up. So I'm going to pull up this next one here in 2 seconds. If there's any questions, you can jump in and ask, of course, at any time. Let me get to the screen share. Andrew, would you do me a favor? Can you see AI for agents just
No,
being shared?
don't see any sharing yet.
Give me 1 second. That's the wrong share. Ah, very good. All right, you see it now, I hope.
I see it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, so today what we want to talk about is some of the better ways to be able to use artificial intelligence. And most of the systems that the things that we're going to use, they're going to be the ChatGPT, depending on whichever AI you use, most of them are going to be doing it basically the same way. If you've heard of something called Perplexity, Perplexity is just a wrapper. So basically, it's the outside hub of a company that had a great idea. They said, why don't, because there's a few different large language models. You have Microsoft Copilot, you have ChatGPT, you have Grok, which is Twitter, which is Elon Musk's, you have Claude, you have Facebook's, which is Meta. So you have all these different ones. Why don't we just put an overall wrapper that's also AI that basically you can use ours and it pulls the best results from whichever large language model is giving the best, more conducive results for what you're looking for. That's Perplexity. So Perplexity is another one that, again, if you start adding up these $20 a month fees, you're in the hundreds after a very short time. I try to focus. I have Grok because I have X because I'm on Twitter, which is X. So that's just part of the Twitter membership. So I don't, in my mind, I don't look at that as extra. ChatGPT is the one that I pay that $20 a month for, and it seems to do a great job. Gemini, I have Google Gemini. Here we go. I have Google Gemini because I'm paying for the storage for cloud. So I have 5 terabytes there for pictures and all that fancy stuff. So I have that as well. If you want to ask me what I think, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with Google, their Gemini. I think that's probably going to be the winner when all the dust settles. They have more data than anyone. Elon Musk bought X to get access to the data, and the data is where the information lies, and that's how they become better, just the more data that they have. And OpenAI, ChatGPT is also big in the running because Microsoft has Bing and they had all those Microsoft products that people use throughout the years. So they also have all that data. So data is really what's going to win in the end. Whichever one you use, whatever shows I put together, they run all the way through. So what happens is we're going to talk about why your posts aren't landing and why you're not getting engagement, the way to put those together better using AI. So very simply, you can use information from the board of realtors, and we'll get into a little bit of privacy as well. But you use that information, you have to really be careful though when it's going to give you something to publish. It shall not include any personal or private or confidential information that was meant for our eyes only as real estate agents. Furthermore, coming soon listings, I've said this before, I think I've said this in past shows. I don't believe agents are doing enough with coming soon listings. That's really a good buyer attraction. And it's not BS. Coming soon listings are fantastic because they aren't anywhere. We're not going to outcompete Zillow. Maybe the lawsuit will really cripple them if that's something that you're excited about. They had a lawsuit recently. They were getting into it with Redfin, which is another company that, they have agents as well, but they kind of paid off each other to change the game online. So you should look that up. I did a show on that. If you go to Santa Clarita, artificialintelligence.com, click on blog. I did a whole blog post on Zillow and that Redfin debacle. Now, of course, people are paying under the table for things and this and that, but something to watch out for. But you're not going to beat them when it comes to putting properties online. I think after a time, though, people are going to get irritated that there's just so much garbage. And when you go there, they try to keep it really lean on the homepage so people want to interact. But there's a lot of offerings. You got 15 agents or however many agents they have, different lenders there. If you have that local website, I know Nicole and a lot of other folks here in the group that I've talked with, that's not a bad offering. If you have a Realty One site, not bad. If you have a different brokerage and they're giving you a site, you can tune that up pretty well. You just have to do a little bit of work on it, and AI would be great for that. But one of the things that we'll get into today is, getting these attention grabbers, getting the information out there so people will start to, do more than just read what you say and say, oh, that's interesting. If anybody's on my Facebook page, I post a lot of content. Now, not as much real estate. I try to do one thing real estate. Now it's more about AI because that's really something I'm into. I've kind of found a passion for it. So I'm doing a lot of talking about that. One of the things that people like, and it's kind of unfortunate, but they like the negativity. They like the negative stuff. People really enjoy that. If you have on your newscast a fireman saving a kitten out of a tree, unless the owner of the cat is in a bikini or some sexy outfit, it probably doesn't go very far. That's unfortunately just the way that the world seems to be, and human beings are at this point technological gods with the morality of a toddler. And that's where we are, and we're building this stuff so fast. Just things to be aware. If I drop hints in the show about maybe artificial intelligence being dangerous, it really is something that's starting to work on itself. Like I mentioned, August of this year is when they started using AI to improve AI. Right now, we didn't really understand, the people that were building it didn't understand why it did certain things. And all of a sudden, they're giving it the power to improve itself. So now we're really not going to understand what it does. If it's aligned properly and treats us all as creatures that it loves, not ever allowing anybody to hurt a human being, even other human beings, you can see that that would be a lot of control over us. However that would happen, I don't know. But if they control it and throttle it back so it has that parameter that you'll never hurt or kill or harm a human being, then in war, it doesn't work. But that doesn't work for the ones that ascribe to the plan. If you have other countries building it, maybe they won't put that safety mechanism in there. So you see the issue. It's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger and stronger, and it is different than any other technological advancement we've ever seen in the world. We've never encountered greater than us intelligence. That would be the same as if an alien force landed on the planet with technology that was good enough to get them here from very, very far away, which we have difficulty even getting to the moon or even to Mars, right? But if they got to our planet, they'll be much more technological advanced. There's a lot of dystopian rumor and even movies that have been made about that kind of interaction. There's not a lot of good cases of some smarter intelligence taking care of a lesser intelligence, unless you talk about the one thing that evolution and creation, whichever side you're on, has taken many, many thousands of years to make right, and that's a mother and a child. That is the only case we have of a greater, stronger intelligence being enough caring and caring for a much weaker and not as powerful and not as intelligent person. So that's how that works. And some others are great, some others not so good. But that's the best example we have. Hopefully, AI, when it starts to get more developed, everybody's chasing the money. But let's talk about how you can use it in your business better. So typically, most agents think that the algorithm hates them, and it really doesn't. The issue is the message might be too generic or too salesy, or it reads like a flyer. People respond to stories, local insights, and helpful tips. Anything else gets scrolled past. So today, we're going to make your message impossible to ignore. We're going to use AI to do the heavy lifting. So from people in the room, just ask this to yourself. You don't have to answer out loud, but just think to yourself, who's posting at least 3 times a week, but wants better comments or DM interaction? Okay. And that's what we're going to work on now. So 3 times a week seems to be the magic number. You can post every day as well. But if you're posting stuff that's not very exciting or not what we're about to talk about, people are going to start to lessen the impact of what you're saying. But if you might do 2 or 3 things a week that are pretty good, you'll start to get more interaction. All right, so let's move on. So here in 2025, what's working? So videos, short videos, 30 to 90 seconds, real stories from your week, local information. that helps and hooks that force a pause. Like sellers are shocked by this. Or before you buy in Valencia, know this. The before you buy in Valencia thing, Melrose might be something cool to talk about there. Or maybe properties, because in Valencia, there are certain properties that are next to these massive green belts with lots of thick shrubbery. And you've probably seen it as well. You clients love the house, you're in escrow. Maybe they dallied on reaching out to the insurance, and then insurance is saying, "Are you kidding me? We're not going to insure this. It's just a fire waiting to happen." So we see that a lot as well. Maybe that's something super that you can talk about. And what's not working is just listed graphics with zero context or copy paste market dumps. We'll use AI to create posts that sound human, not corporate. So what's our target? Not viral, but it's this. The goal. It's going to be visible, not viral. You want your database, your sphere, local audience to see you, trust you, and remember you. That happens with consistent human local posts. AI is going to help us show up even on the days when you're slammed without sounding robotic. So let me give you a weekly plan now that's simple and repeatable. So 3 posts every week. So maybe a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Saturday to bring in the weekend. These times work great. You could do a personal story on the Monday or on the Tuesday, what happened in your business and what you learned. Market insight, one number, one takeaway, and then local lifestyle, a business event, school note, or neighborhood tip. AI will draft it, and then you tweak the tone and hit publish. That's it. So consistency in this regard is going to beat inspiration. So let's write them, and I'll show you some prompts. I'll also share a link to a Google Doc that I created that has all the prompts there that you can use into your AI as well. So I always try to do that so you see it. So here's your first prompt. We'll just walk through it. You're a local realtor in Santa Clarita. Write a short 3-sentence story about something you learned this week. Sound human, end with a question. This would be the prompt, and I'll give you all of this at the end. You can take a screenshot or grab this as well. But this is what you're going to want to put into the large language model. Now, examples, the results, it could be showed 4 homes this week, 3 got multiple offers, 1 didn't. The difference, price and presentation. Have you noticed how fast and clean move-in ready homes go? This sounds like a human, not a brochure, and it also sounds like a conversation. Last episode, I talked about search engine optimization, or SEO. There's the one that goes along with artificial intelligence is AEO. Now, AEO stands for 2 different things I've seen in the world, either artificial intelligence engine optimization or answer engine optimization. But it's the content that AI is most likely to draw upon. If you run Santa Clarita artificial intelligence in a Google search, you're going to find me showing up on the first page. Now, the competition wasn't big, not like real estate, but it was able to see that AEO approach that I had when I was putting together that particular business. So it starts to show up. You will also, when you start to do the answering questions, giving feedback type scenarios when you're punching in content, the artificial intelligence system will start to pull you up. Video, and I can't stress this, I mentioned this before, video is so important. If you're not doing it, there are systems out there, and we can walk through those next class, but there are systems out there like Synthesia. The only issue is they cost some money to be able to generate a video that's 30 to 90 seconds long. Their entry level membership at $20 isn't going to cut it. You're going to need something a little bit longer. You can take a picture of yourself, and it's just amazing. It always gives me better teeth, but because it doesn't see the teeth, so it's assuming, thank God. But anyway, that's what it does, and it will produce me saying whatever it is that I want it to say, and I'll use AI to also give me the script to use for this particular favicon or this representation or my AI clone, and to have it talk to the world. It looks just like me. I cannot tell the difference. 2 months ago, it didn't. Now it's incredible. Do I use that in my videos? No, not yet. But it is something if you're, because I'm not too concerned about the camera. I'm in front of you folks, and if you don't like it, usually you shut off the video. But anyway, so I'm here. I'm not scared with it, but some people you're afraid to ship. You're afraid to actually push that video out there because of judgment, because of maybe ego, because of however you feel about yourself. And you know what? I get that. It makes sense. But really, you need to start doing it. And if you can use one of these systems to lower that bar, so now you get one of the best pictures you have of yourself, the system just with one picture will train itself and it will be able to reproduce you. And you give it some voice takes. Again, it walks you all through these different programs out there, and then you'll be able to produce it. We're not very far, though, from this. This is something to remember. Artificial intelligence is going to make it, like I mentioned in the beginning, we're technological gods with the morals of a toddler. Because we're technological gods, pretty soon we're going to be able to speak what we want into existence. I have you list a house that's vacant. There's now people that are charging, I think it's $29 per photo to put furniture in there. But you can also go to Gemini and upload that picture and put in a prompt, basically telling it, do not change the dimensions of the room, do not change the color scheme, just insert furniture into this room where you think would be best. But do not alter anything in the photograph besides adding furniture, maybe one picture. If you don't tell it one picture, it just floods these things with pictures. But and it sticks stuff on the ceiling, which is kind of cute. But so you kind of, dial it down a little bit, but you can have each of those photographs done that way for whatever your monthly membership is to that particular large language model. And it does it very well. Those pictures would be allowed to be used. I would probably put a disclaimer maybe in the confidential marks, or this property was virtually staged. I might put that in even the public remarks so people aren't misled. But again, it looks great and you save $29 a picture. I can't believe they're charging, but somebody had a good idea, but they're about to be outrun because very soon we'll be able to dump an entire roll of photos, that's old, but an entire group of photos, 30 photos that maybe we took with our iPhone. That's another thing. Virtual photographers, they're great, but pretty soon you're going to be able to take stuff you shot with your iPhone again, and it's going to look better than anything a professional would potentially be able to produce. Sorry to say, but it's going that way. But you'll be able to take 30 pictures and dump it in and say, stage all these pictures, virtually stage all of them in a vacant house, and boom, it will produce for you that zip file. You can open it up and you upload all these to the MLS. That's going to be within a week, probably 2 weeks. It's going to be that simple. And that's how fast AI is moving. So for us as agents, it's great. We just have to stay top of mind. And this is how we do it, by making these engaging posts. All right. So this is the prompt. You're a local realtor in Santa Clarita. Write a short 3-sentence story about something you learned this week. Sound human and without question. So I'll have these at the very end to provide for you. But what it will produce is a good story, a good information. Now, maybe you're pushing back because you have maybe an ethical dilemma. Maybe this isn't about an actual interaction you had with a client. Maybe you can reach back and in your historical record of all the transactions, all the people you've dealt with, maybe you find a story. But maybe it's not even close to something you experienced. Then you can add to this, this is something that happened to me, and then it will rephrase it and put it as if you were actually doing it from a direct experience you had. So again, depending on where your ethics are, I would say there's probably a lot of information online that probably isn't true that people are producing. I know that when it comes to agents, a lot of the big sales gimmicks that people are putting out there for us as real estate agents is basically, we get all the leads for you. You don't pay us anything. And, we'll just send you leads. We'll get you at least 10 listing appointments per month. And if you don't close at least 2, you owe us nothing. There's so much small print in that, but that's something you could do as well. I'm digressing. You go to your title officer and you first you go to ChatGPT and you ask it, what what are the statistics that sellers that would cause a person to potentially sell their house? Best case scenario would be to sell their house. What statistics should I be looking for if I have a title officer that's able to pull property profiles on real estate listings in Valencia, California? What would what would some of the statistics they should pull? What does that look like? Or something of that nature. I know I just said a lot, but so what'll happen is it will tell you exactly what they want what information they'll need from your title officer. And then you send that over to your title officer. And then they produce for you a sheet of these particular listings that fit this criteria that ChatGPT or whichever large language model you're using said would be the best case scenario for the sellers that are going to be most likely to sell in the next 3 to 6 months. Then you take that information and you bring it back and you plug it back into ChatGPT or one of the others. You say, okay, here's the document that has, the 300 listings that fit the criteria you gave me. Which one of these would be the most likely to sell in the next 3 to 6 months? And then what would be my best approach to start to reach out to these individuals to see if I can assist them in the selling of the property? Boom. So then you get your list. Then to set those interviews, well, that's what we're good at, right? Somebody contacts us. We're not scared to tell them what we do for a living. We're right there. If somebody says, I want to sell my house, oh, thank God. I've been waiting for your call. That's where you go with that. So now you have the information. Then you're asking, well, how do I find out who these people are? Well, now we have to be a little careful. If you're going to reach out to people unsolicited, that could be an issue because you're spamming them or calling them. But as you see, I don't know about you guys, but I get my phone. I wish a tenth of the calls were about wanting to do something in AI or real estate. I wish that, but it's not. It's all garbage. And I block numbers. I'm surprised my phone hasn't even run out of room yet because I block all of them. A lot of them are toll-free generated, but there's no culpability. There's no accountability with a toll-free number call. They don't require any kind of verification. For one of the agents here recently, I set up a virtual voice number that has an AI voice and AI system attached to it, but that requires A2P verification. It takes a few days. There's a lot of explanation. There's a lot of accountability. So if that individual were to turn that chat bot around and say, go after people and just call all these numbers that I've never gotten permission to call, then that's a problem. There's some accountability there, but it still happens, right? So people are going to be sending you this. More than likely, you'll be able to use online systems pretty soon, probably ChatGPT, but right now Spokio is one of the systems you can go gather emails and information. Title might be able to produce for you emails and other information. You just have to be careful of doing that next follow-up or that reaching out. Maybe banging on the door would be sufficient. If you have a list of the people that are most likely to sell in the next 3 months, and that list is maybe 20 or 30, you can then have AI develop a nice listing package to go and drop off on these properties. Another thing AI can do. All right, so this is where we were. Let's go to the next one. So prompt 2 is about the market. So you'll write a short post about homes in Santa Clarita selling in around 3 weeks. Explain what that means for buyers and sellers. The information that you'll give it now is going to be coming from the MLS. You're going to see how many properties. You can just use your dates in there. You can choose Valencia. More than likely, you'll be able to choose single family residence only or condos or townhomes, whatever your particular market flavor is. And then I would probably dial down the bedrooms to something specific, a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, depending on how much information it spits out from the MLS. And then now you have the data sheet, you have the information, then you plug it back into ChatGPT. With this particular prompt, I've attached the file. Now I want you to write a short post about homes in Santa Clarita selling in around 3 weeks and explain what that means for buyers and sellers. That's huge. Because they've already sold, you have access to write the information about addresses, what they sold for. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that now becomes public. It's when a property is listed by another brokerage that we run into problems. Coming soon listings, like I mentioned earlier, I think that's great. That's good stuff to talk about. You can talk about neighborhoods in Valencia average pricing, what it looks like. Oh, there's something coming up in the Creekside track, price just about $800,000. Looks like it's going to be coming on the market soon. If you want to get more information about that, hit me up. But you can use those coming soon listings and even build a Facebook page around it, an Instagram handle, TikTok, these sorts of things. And then you can actually create videos and slides and use AI to do that also. But this is good information. So this one here, it'll keep it conversational. So a short social post about homes in Santa Clarita selling in about 3 weeks. Explain what it means for buyers and sellers. Keep it conversational. Example, what it might spit out depending on what you put in. Santa Clarita homes are moving in about 21 days right now. Sellers price it right. Buyers move quick. And then it's going to ask you, want me to send the 5 fastest selling areas. Notice the ask at the end. Want me to send. That line turns a post into a DM. So that would be your direct message to anybody that responded. You want me to send you the 5 fastest selling areas. And then they'll hit you up. Well, yeah, I would love to know where the 5 fastest selling areas are. I might own a house there, or maybe I'm buying in that area. And if other people want to buy, I want to buy too. So transition, people also love local lifestyle because it feels like a friend talking. This is where I think a lot of you do well. I know Andrew, hate to keep picking on him, but he's blowing it out. He's putting his information out there. I'm watching, I'm getting this stuff in my feed, and he's talking about real things. He has that ability, and I'm thankful for him having that. I'm not there, but he does a great job. Ask him how he does it. He's going to hate me for that. All right, so this is what you do. Local lifestyle, it's good stuff. Write a post about local coffee shop where you meet clients. End by asking followers their favorite stop. So for their favorite spot. Example, if you're ever in Valencia, grab a coffee at Honhu, quiet patio, great cold brew. I meet clients there all the time. What's your local go-to spot? The question pulls in comments and also boosts reach. A short video. Here's 5 solid ideas you can record from your phone. Now, video ideas are great. 3 fastest selling neighborhoods. Why your listing isn't getting showings. Be careful with that one because you don't want to anger anybody, another agent talking about their specific listing, and then they go back to their seller. And you believe Connor? You believe he? Well, who's Connor? Well, he's an agent. Well, why is he talking bad about my listing? I thought all you guys weren't supposed to, badmouth anybody. Let's sue him. See where that goes. How I would price my own home. That's very valuable. People want to hear how you would do it. And also, when you're with clients, you've probably made the statement, if it were my money, this one would be a good investment, and this is why. If it were my money, this is the one I would purchase, and this is why. The sellers took care of it. You know how rare it is to walk into a place and have an entire stack of booklets from every single change the sellers made to the property over 30 years. It doesn't happen. So they care that much about the residents, it's probably going to serve you well, that sort of thing. And then how I'd price my own home, as I mentioned, what 900 to 1,000 buys you in Valencia, and a day with whomever, a day with Nicole, a day with Andrew, a day with whomever. But people like to see that stuff. When I was running up this show, I was looking at the statistical views that agents had on their content. That's why these made the list. It might not be something that you think would make the list, but we're all very different. I learned a long time ago, I look at the math, I look at the results, I don't doubt them. I have to move forward and do what it says. The reason being is this: I might not answer my door. I might hate it when people knock on my door. I might be rude and answer them through the camera, what do you want? That's me. You know who I am? I'm rare. Most people don't mind answering the door. Maybe it's us agents that don't like answering the door because it's usually another agent and that we feel convicted. It's like, great, they're doing it. I'm not. I'm sitting here in my house, eating donuts. But anyway, when they come to the door, I hate it. But other people don't. They'll answer the door. How irritating is that? The neighbor, an agent comes to your door, you don't answer because, you don't want to answer. Then they go to your neighbor's house and, you be nosy and you're watching out there and, oh my God, they're just yakking it up. They're talking like they've been friends for 1,000 years and they probably just met. If you're learning something that a lot of people are looking at interacting with, and people are getting business from it. Even if it's not your flavor, I think that should be something you try to clear your mind from, try to get rid of whatever problems you have with it and move forward and do it. Very, very important, I think. All right. So we got that one. So this is slide 10. We're going to go into prompt engagement questions. So ask AI, give me 10 short social questions that spark comments for homeowners and buyers in Santa Clarita. Use things like big kitchen or yard, dream neighborhood and SCV. When did you first buy your first home? What do you wish you'd known? When you did buy your first home, what did you wish you had known? What upgrade made your home feel brand new? Post a question once a week. Comments drive visibility. Visibility drives DMs, and DMs book appointments. Now let's stay consistent without burning out. This is what you want to do. Again, it's all packaged for you. Plan my next 30 days of post, story, market, lifestyle. Keep it warm, funny, and real. On this one here, tools you're going to actually use. So you have ChatGPT. It's great for writing captions. Canva. If you don't have Canva, I use Canva a lot in all the photographs that I make, all the thumbnails. I'm using it for voiceovers too. So let's say you're not one that wants to get on video, but you want to produce videos for TikTok. Well, you could actually go into Canva and just have it make you just basically a TikTok photo or a TikTok thumbnail that you would post, just a square one maybe for Instagram. But whatever you have made in Canva, all right, here we go. I'm going off script. I'm going to show you this real quick. 2 seconds. Don't let me forget where I am. I'm going back. Canva here. 2 seconds. Okay, so where are we? Let's do this one more time. Okay, so this is Canva. And we're seeing it, Canva. Okay, this is Canva. So this is awesome. If you don't want to show your face, you make yourself a thumbnail. I think I pay $20 a month for Canva. But these are the thumbnails. God, I'm always panicked. I'm going to see something horrible here and you guys are going to see it. But yeah, we're good. Anyway, so here's Canva, right? On any one of these, you come into Canva and you ask it to make you something. Here's kind of where you're starting. Now you can ask it to make me a photo. Let's try this. Make me a picture based on a 50s postcard about Santa Clarita artificial intelligence. So it's already reverted to 16 by 9, but it's going to give me the picture. What I might do is change it. It's going to mess up some of the stuff. That's not bad. Did it spell it all right? All right. So let's do this one real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go. I'll click on this. But this is what I want to show you. You can actually do a voiceover on top of whatever you create. So if you create something like this and you want to do a TikTok video with it, it's very simple. You just come over here. You're going to close this. You're going to click on uploads and you're going to click record yourself. And then it's going to, ask you what you want. I'll just do a voiceover on this. So then it gives you the countdown. I'm Connor with Honor with Santa Clarita Artificial Intelligence. Just wanted to give you a quick update as to what's happening in the AI world. Stop. And then it's going to add the audio just beneath. You'll have to increase the thumbnail, if that makes sense. So if you're going to record 90 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, you're going to have to make it go all the way across, but it's still going to save it as an MP4 file. So you can use that for TikTok. And the more attention grabbing your thumbnail is, people aren't going to mind that it's not you moving in there. If it's really eye grabbing, they're going to listen to it. They'll listen all the way through. And that's where your copy that you have AI make you is going to be very important. Let's see if you can hear it. And it plugs some captions in there too, which works out great. But that's Canva, and it works fantastically well. It really, really does. So that's something that you can put out there with your content so you don't have to record your face if you don't want to. But I think Canva is a game changer. Pretty soon you'll be able to use ChatGPT and these other systems just to talk it into existence. And it'll be able, so basically, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, these types of this type of software, eventually, and maybe very, very in very short order, you're going to just be able to go to one of these systems, more artificial general intelligence, and it will produce for you the engine or the software to have you make what you want. That's what's going to end up happening. I use Replit a lot. I can vibe code and speak things into existence. RSS feeds for publishing content. Again, I'll talk to you all about this. Just call me. RSS feeds for publishing content work great, but there wasn't a system online that allowed me to convert an update to a real estate website, convert that into an RSS feed. Well, I made my own app through Replit. I told it what I wanted and it understood it and it created it for me. So now on all my real estate sites or whatever, my Santa Clarita artificial intelligence site, whenever there's a new post, it produces an updated RSS feed. The system monitors it and I get my social media update all done for me and published without me even having to do it. That's the point of AI, I think. It's going to give better content that we can give ourselves, and it's going to publish it a lot easier on almost automatically. As long as you're here and you're listening to the show, you're good because you're now being caught up to date. Are there any questions from the audience today? I'll share that. Let me pull that while I'm waiting for any questions. Let me pull this actual prompting link from Google. I saved it. I'm going to dump this into the chat. And we're going to stop here. So I'm gonna drop this into the chat. This is the link. This is going to be the link. Thanks, Nicole, very much. I got your comment. Awesome. If you go to the chat, please, you can click on this, and I unlocked it so you can use these prompts in whichever AI engine you want and start posting. Usually in each prompt, I'll leave you with this as well. I would have some kind of a link to some online property you have. Hopefully, you have a real estate website. If you don't, have it go to a Facebook page you created for your real estate business. If you don't have that, hopefully, you have a Google My Business page, and you can also have it linked to that. But you have to have something besides that point of communication through wherever you're posting this stuff that the AI is going to be helping you create. You have to have something else. So just responding to that Facebook post, that's great, but you need to have another link in there so they can click on and then gain more access to wherever you happen to be. That's very important. I know on the office meeting this last week, I talked about Bing. If you haven't done that yet, you need to. Don't wait. Go to Bing, their actual business page for Bing, and have your business listed if it's not already. That's going to be incredibly important because Bing is in it with OpenAI, which is the owner of ChatGPT. So they're not pulling any of the listings from Google when they're asking for search. They're pulling it from Bing and Microsoft because of their agreement. So if you're not on Bing and your business isn't updated on Bing, you're going to be missing out. So make sure you go there and do that. Are there any questions for today? Perfect. I know it's clear as mud. Anybody has any questions, you call me and we'll work on it together. It's very easy. That's just part of what I do. I figure if I help as many people get what they want, then I get what I want. So just reach out to me. You're more than welcome. Just call me on my cell. It's going to be online, or go to Santa Clarita artificialintelligence.com and punch in. You're more than welcome. Punch in, set up an appointment with me, and we'll talk. I know that there's a lot of things that I offer for free with the Santa Clarita Artificial Intelligence, a social media poster, calendar. Just hit me up. I'll give it to you. I'll even show you how to use it. If any questions, please let me know. Bing. Oh, okay. Darlene said I went to Bing but couldn't find the BS page. I like it. I'll find the BS page for you right now. Let me give it to you. Let's see. 2 seconds. All right. Yeah, this one you have to be careful on. I did a post on this the other day. Um, it's funny when you type in the Bing My Business, it gives you all these other results. Bing Places. This is the one. So this is the one here. Um, yeah, see, it's ugly. I wish you wouldn't have done that. It actually embedded the link. Let's see. So there's the actual URL. Both of them will work, but that's exactly where you want to go and register your business. If you look in the chat, if you don't see the chat is a little icon at the bottom of the screen with all of our little faces here. Click on chat and then you'll see it. That's where you would go to register your business. Now, at the very start, they're going to ask you if you want it connected to your Google My Business profile, and you do if you have all that information filled out. I did some research after I talked to the group Monday. I don't think there's any negativity having it attached. It'll just give you additional verification. I thought maybe having something that's not attached to it would be more independent, but attaching it shouldn't be an issue as long as the information contained in your Google My Business listing is accurate. So please, double check all of that. But you need to do this. And then with Google My Business and these other ones, you want to have that put on your properties. You want to have that listed as links in your Facebook group pages. If you happen to have a Facebook page for your business, you want the link from your Google My Business as one of the website links you include in there, not just your other social media. Other social media is fine. But the more places Google sees your business as part of Facebook, as part of Instagram, as part of these others, because you can add links to these different sites. I don't know how many per se, but at least one. And that one, there's argument back and forth. Should you have that be your main property website, whatever your main real estate or business website is, or do you want that to go to either Google or Bing? They think that's kind of a toss up. If your regular website has the embed code for the map on Bing and the embed code from the Google business on there, you're probably doing great. Anyway, any further questions? I'm here to serve. Nothing. Thank you guys so much for coming on. These Mondays really are a treat for me, and it just helps me through. It helps me through the rest of my week. If I can help you further, just reach out, and I would love to take care of all of you. Let me know if you have any questions, please. Andrew Sherman just imported his Google business page to Bing. Took about a minute, so it pulled everything over, nice and easy. Now, what's going to end up happening after a little bit of time, Andrew's going to start to see him getting more traffic if he's monitoring his main site or wherever he is online. And you can monitor these things to see how many people go with Google Webmaster Tools. That's a free option. I can show you how to hook that up. It's not difficult. If you have a Google My Business, then Google My Webmaster Tools is in there. But then he'll start to see more traffic because he'll start to get organic stuff from Microsoft Copilot from those inquiries, and also OpenAI's ChatGPT when people are searching for stuff. So perfect. Good job, Andrew. That's awesome. Anything else before we call it a day, at least for this part of your day? Excellent. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. If you haven't joined my community at santaclaritaai.com, please do so. I share a lot of stuff there and it's free and I'm the owner of it. So you can go to santaclaritaai.com and I share stuff throughout the week that I find online, little helpful tips. And from some of that, I put together the show that we do on Mondays as well. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If I can help you further, just call me, text me, or email me, or get on my calendar, and I'll walk you through whatever you need. You be well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Thanks, Darlene. I appreciate that. Thanks, Patrick. So many thumbs up. That's so awesome. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you again.